Hello and welcome back. About an hour's time now. As you can see, mine has doubled in size and it's doubled quite nicely actually. Put some little dents in there and you can see what I mean. Okay, so what we need to do now is to take it out of the bowl and then you just, what we call in the term is knocking the air out. Now you need to do this because this will give the bread more tension. And basically what that means is that once it's proved again, because once you put it into a shape that you want it, it will be able to hold its shape. If you didn't do that, then it probably wouldn't hold its shape particularly very well. Now you can do one of two ways. You can just do a little bit, and what I've just done there would be sufficient. That would mean that you get a mixture of bigger bubbles and smaller bubbles in the bread. But I quite like my bubbles to be quite close, quite tiny, and that for me forms a better bread. So I will knock this back a little bit more. I have floured the board a bit again, just to prevent that from sticking. So we're knocking back a little bit. Don't need to do it too much, just a little bit. And then what we'll do is, I'm going to make rolls, but if you were going to make bread, you just need to put this into your bread tin if you've got one. If you haven't got one, make it in sort of like a round shape. And then you can just put it on your baking tray, let it rise. Probably about the same time again. Have a look after about 3/4 of an hour. I'm going to look at my rolls after half an hour because obviously there's not as much mixture for a single roll. And then after it's proven again, at least double in size again, then what you can do is pop it in the oven, about 200 degrees, and until it looks golden brown. And a good way to check if it's done once it's cooked is you turn the roll or the loaf over, tap its bottom, and if it sounds hollow, that means it's cooked. Okay. I'm going to just show you the inside of this, because then you can see. Can you see all the air bubbles in there? That's exactly what we wanted to happen. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to form it into a roll shape. Let's put a bit more flour down. Okay, so we don't want to be too mean on the size of rolls, but we don't want to be too big either. You'd be able to feel, I mean, if you wanted to, you could get your scales out and weigh them. But I'm not really that bothered about that. It's not for the shop, so I don't need to make sure that everybody has the same size. So let's have a little look and see roughly how many this is going to make today. So this half is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to make about 12 rolls if you're going to turn them into rolls. I'm going to just move some of that flour out of the way. Now what I want to do is to make into a nice round shape. Now you can do this one of two ways. When we were at school, we were taught to flatten it out like this, and then to keep bringing your finger over like this, which sort of makes it into a round ball. But for quickness sake, and if you noticed, I got rid of the flour there so that the bread will actually make contact with the board and it's easier. Cup your hand over the roll or the piece of dough and just let it roll inside your hand loosely. And then as you can see, that makes a really nice round shape. Okay, so you then need to pop these onto a baking sheet. But don't put them too close together because obviously they're going to prove, and they're going to prove to double the size again. And you don't want one big blobby mess if you're making rolls. Again, if you're just doing bread, then that's absolutely fine. Just leave it in one piece. And then what you can do is have a nice big loaf. If you're going to be clever, if you want to be clever, you can divide your loaf up into two, but do one that's slightly bigger than the other. And then put the smaller one on top of the bigger one. Then flour your finger and put your finger straight in the middle, and that's your cottage loaf there. So you've made a different sort of like shape of cottage loaf. Okay, I'm just going to put a bit more moisture down. So I can continue rolling these. If I do a tray full, you can see how far apart that I've placed them, and you can do yours then, and then we'll stop the video again, and you can then put yours to prove. Like I said, keep an eye on them, double the size, and once they're proved enough, you can pop them in the oven. You can overproof bread. If you overproof it, and I have done this on one occasion, it prove up nicely, and then it'll prove so much that it'll go in on itself, and then you've lost it. So just be very, very careful. Right, okay. So there they are on the baking tray. I'm going to go and put those to prove now, and I'll see you in a few moments once these are proved, so you can see the size of what they've turned out at, and then we'll pop them in the oven. Okay, thank you.